Hello there! Today I thought I would bring you the end of year book tag. I'm sure you've seen this going around. I haven't been tagged, but I really like the questions. It's a nice short tag, and I think it's a nice way to sort of wrap up the year of reading. Obviously it's December now, which is just blow your mind crazy, so it's that time of year, which is actually my favourite booktubey time of year, where it's sort of wrapping up the reading year, finding out how many books you've read this year, which, to be honest, I don't think it's going to be great this year for me, but I really enjoy wrapping everything up, seeing everyone's favourite reads for the year. Yeah, it's just a fun time of year on BookTube. So anyway, I thought I would start the festivities, as it were, with this tag. I'm not actually going to be looking at my laptop because I have written the questions down because I'm organised this time and because there weren't that many of them. But I will still be looking down because, you know, I'm not quite so organised that I've actually memorised them. So, number one, are there any books you started this year that you need to finish? I'm not one for having loads of books on the go. I tend to have one book that I'm reading and I either finish it or I DNF it. But I have got one book at the moment which I have not finished. I started it last week, and that's Madame Bovary by Gustave Flaubert. I think that's how you say it anyway. I started this and I've had it on my shelf for a while, and it's been one of those books that I've been really dying to get to because I had this feeling that I would really enjoy it. And so far it's just really boring. I have to be honest, it's boring, although I have been on antibiotics this week, which have made my mind completely foggy and I've been struggling to concentrate on anything. So I decided, I got a fair way in, I got about 100, just over 100 pages through, and thought that it would probably be better if I just pick this up at another time. It's pretty slow, it's pretty dense in the style of a lot of classics, I think. It's disappointing me so far, and I have to say, from reading some reviews from people that I do respect, they said that they found it really difficult to engage with the story, and that's kind of how I'm feeling about it. I just don't really care, but I'm gonna keep going with it because I think it's one of those classics that you probably should read, and the writing is wonderful. It just, there's something missing about it. It hasn't got a spark for me at the minute. But yeah, so I'm hoping to finish that one. I might end up having to read bits of it here and there, but I'm starting to feel more lucid, so hopefully I can get through that one. Number two, do you have an autumnal book to transition you into the end of the year? I don't know that they're autumnal, but I always read. Here's Dark Materials. I've got into the habit for the past 2 years. I have read Northern Lights and I finished it on Christmas Eve, and then last year I read The Subtle Knife, and just by fluke I finished that on Christmas Eve as well, and it's really lovely, and they're really magic books to stay up late on Christmas Eve and finish. So I'm planning to do the same with the Amber Spyglass this year, which I think is a nice transition just because it's become a bit of a sort of regular thing for me. I don't know if I'm going to be able to time it right so that it does end up that I finish it on Christmas Eve, but if I'm like 50 pages from the end, I might put those aside and save them for the evening. Yeah, I don't know if they particularly count as autumny books, but they're certainly, because they're kids books, I think they're quite magical and they have that kind of Christmassy element, so I guess that counts as an answer. Number three, is there a new release you're still waiting for? I do not follow new releases. Even if there was a new release that I was interested in, I would not be getting around to it by the end of the year. I'd probably, at the state of my bookshelves at the moment, not be getting around to it till about 5 years. So yeah, I don't have any releases that I'm particularly looking forward to, I've got to be honest. Number four, what are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? For this, I've already put together my sort of rough TBR of what I would like to read this month, so I'll just talk you through 3 of those books. So at the moment I've already started Our Endless Numbered Days by Claire Fuller. I picked this up in place of Madame Bovary because I thought it'd be easier to follow. I have, even with this one, I've been having trouble, but the past sort of day or so I've becoming more able to follow a plot, so I'm enjoying this so far actually. I heard negative things about it. I'm actually pleasantly surprised, and it is more literary than I was expecting. I think it's definitely a book that is made up of plots that have been done in a lot of different books. It reminds me a lot of Room, obviously, by Emma Donoghue. There's also bits of The Road by Cormac McCarthy in here. It also reminds me a little bit of The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt because it's just hard to deny the similarities. But anyway, so that's what I'm reading at the moment. Then I have also got If You Look For Me, I Am Not Here by Sareyu Srivatsa, I think that's how you say that. This is one of my Blue Moose books that I am doing for my independent publishing series, which, to be honest, I'd kind of like to get out the way. I'm not overly enjoying the Blue Moose books, sadly, and I'm not overly excited about them, which is really terrible. So I just would kind of like to get them cleared as soon as I can into next year, which also ties in with my literary goals for the next year, but I'll talk about them towards the end of the video. This is set in India. It's about a woman who has twins and she loses the girl of the pair, and I think it's about how the son that she does have copes with that and copes with the loss that his mother has had, and the wishes that she has for him because of that. So it sounds quite interesting. I'm just not overly getting on with them, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. Then I am also going to pick up my short story collection for the month, which is Michelle Faber's The Apple, which are short stories based around the world of The Crimson Petal and the White. I think there's only one of these that follows on from the ending of Crimson Petal, because obviously it's quite an open ending. But I think a lot of people go into this thinking that it's going to follow on from the ending. I think only one of the stories does. All of the others kind of look at the characters before the book, or separates off into sort of sub-characters and goes into their lives a bit more. But I'm very much looking forward to it. Crimson Petal and the White is possibly my all-time favourite, but it's definitely up there. So I'm very much looking forward to these, and I know from reading the first story for my short story tag that the first story in here is set at Christmas time, which is why I thought now would be an apt time to pick it up. And obviously, as I mentioned, I am going to be reading The Amber Spyglass as well, so there are a few that I've got coming up. Number 5, is there a book you think could shock you and become your favourite book of the year? To be honest, it's not been a great reading year, so it wouldn't be impossible for a book to shock me at this stage, but I don't know if any of them actually are. The Amber Spyglass has the potential to. Northern Lights was one of my standout books for the year that I read it, a last minute contender, and The Subtle Knife certainly came up there, so we'll see. I might put The Amber Spyglass in my favourites, or I am planning, if I get a chance, to read Ali Smith's Hotel World, and I always find that Ali Smith's books are quite highly rated for me, although I've read 2 this year and they haven't made it into my tops, so we'll see. And then number 6, the last question, have you already started making reading plans for 2018? I have. I'm not going to go into them too much because I'm going to do my sort of yearly reading plan wrap up and my future plans. But spoiler, 2018 for me is going to be a year of no plans. I think I've had quite strict reading plans for the last 2 years, especially this year with doing my independent publishing series as well. I find that I kind of wanted this year to be more about just picking up books that excited me and looking at my shelves and deciding what I wanted to read, and actually it hasn't been that at all, because I've obviously my independent publisher books, and then I've had my short story collections, my non-fiction, my library pick, and YA books, so that's 5 books of a month that have already been taken up, and I've only been reading around 8 books in a month this year, so a great portion of my reading has gone on my reading challenges, and I think that's really impacted my enjoyment, and it's also holding me back in a major way in terms of my progress on my bookshelves. So as I say, I will talk about that more, but there is one challenge that I'm setting myself for this year, which I'm really excited about, and I think it's going to be fantastic, and hopefully it will be a good thing for you guys as well. But as I say, I will talk about that more in probably a few weeks when I do my wrap up of my resolutions for this year. And that is all of the questions. I'm not going to tag anyone because you guys should know by now that's not my style. It's too much pressure. So please, if you want to do this, feel free. Let me know down below and I will check your video out. And I will see you next time. Bye.